Once upon a time, Gary Olson, a family man that had come into hard times. His wife and two kids did not know he lost his job at the factory building to AI. One morning, getting the paper and envelope falls out. He bends over to pick it up and sees it's from the bank. A notice of foreclosure. Reading it, he has to the end of the week to pay the balance or be evicted. He has been looking for a job, no luck. Gary decides to go to a bar and orders a beer, a look of stress. Earlier that day, his friend Harry called and informed him if he had $3,000 he knows somewhere to place a bet on a race. Meet a bar Dorgans for more details. Little did he know he would be the one to race. At the bar, Harry confirms he has the cash. Gary tells him he sold his truck to get this money. Scarvo is ready to see you know, his bodyguard came over and said. They hand over the money and get searched. Heading into the back, entering an office, they see Mr. Scarvo sitting at his desk. You looking on a bet with the race this Friday, right? Yes, Gary relies. I don't know what type of race it is, Harry just said I have a chance to make money. Scarvo gets up and shakes his hand. Walk this way. He leads them to the stairs. Heading down, he informs him of the race details. When they get to the next floor, there is a woman waiting to show the list of competitors. You are in for 3, take your pick. Gary is hesitant to choose. If your pick wins, well then you get a payout of 15. Gary looks at the lineup. He know if he didn't choose they wouldn't return his money. Gary says, I'll go with Atkin. The race will be grand, Scarvo says. Then says, now get out. The next day, Gary heads to the bank to talk to the manager to try to get an extension till the race ends. The manager is not granting the extension. Upset, he gets up to leave. A loud bangs go off. Everyone in the bank is shocked and realizing it's gunshots they get on the ground. The gunmen are gathering all the hostages in the main lobby and covering their eyes. They yell, stay still, we are here to get the bank's money. Get in our way and you will be put down. A gunman enters the manager's office and ties up Gary and takes the manager to the vault. The men are opening the safe disposite boxes and removing the contents into bags. They put a couple of hostages in the office with Gary. 30 seconds, one of them yelled. One man in the office informs, he is a off-duty cop and if he helps him they can take them down. Gary is hesitant to help as is thinking of his family. The cop manages to untie his wrists. He lifts the cover from Gary's eyes just enough to peek out, but in that moment they hear a voice, someone is coming. The cop gets back in the tied position and Gary decides to keep still.
When a gunman enters the room, the cop attacks him, knocking the gun to the floor. When the cop picked up the gun, another gunman carrying some safe disposite boxes, pushes Gary to the floor and tackles the cop. In the struggle, the contents of the boxes flies out across the room. A diamond ring and watch among other things scattered out on the floor. Gary sees them and decides to roll over and covers them. He rolls over and grabs the ring and watch and puts it behind his belt. No one noticed. The robbers were gathering everything and a truck burst through the entrance of the lobby and they all get in and leave. The cops arrive. The witnesses were all put in an office and interviewed to understand what happened. Normal details, hooded, deep voices. Most mentioned the incident with the cop. They interview Gary and he gives them his side of the story. Gary didn't know what would happen. He was in shock. They informed him, if there is anything else he can remember, to give them a call. He goes home, informing his wife that they will be out of debt soon. The next day, Gary takes the jewels to the bar to meet up with Harry to see if he knows where to sell them. He sits at the bar with Harry. You won't believe what happened to me. Harry sees his shocked face. Before he could say anything else, Scarvo bodyguard joins them and takes them into the back rooms. In the office, Scarvo is upset. Bad news. Gary asks. I was robbed today. Damn thieves, states Scarvo. Well Gary, your race is coming up. The race is called Jail Run. Prisoners are allowed to have their freedom if they win the game. Games are played to clean out the worst of the worst. The race today is first to cross the island and reach the beacon. A tower with a switch that declares the winner and the losers. They turn on the TV. The announcer says, 13 prisoners arrive and gather equipment along the way. Firearms and tools. All prisoners are ready, on the sound of the bell. Ding, their locks are released and they are off.